We now return to Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute, the radio show discussing the honest truth about Illinois policy and politics. Here's AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes, co-founder of the Illinois Opportunity Project. And Pat, I was a bit more precocious in the presidential race than you, which is kind of the standard of case with us. I'm a little bit ahead of the learning curve. You're a little bit behind. But you finally came around to Ted Cruz. And how do you size up the race now that you're finally on board with Ted Cruz trying to stop Donald Trump before he gets to 1237?
I like that you've described yourself as precocious, which is the word we typically use for like 8-year-old boys. But I like Ted Cruz.
Shows your limited knowledge of the English language in addition to your kind of dilettante status as a political analyst.
Correct.
Yes.
Ted Cruz, look, Marco Rubio, he hurt this process of getting Trump out of there by staying in as long as he did. He should have gotten out earlier and consolidated around Cruz. I do think that Cruz has a very outside chance to get the delegate count, but so much of the vote would have to go forward and inure to him. But there is a chance for the second ballot brokered convention for Cruz to be the nominee. And I think that, to me, right now, is the most realistic non-Trump scenario.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, well, we've got the Arizona primary on Tuesday and Utah. And Utah coming up. And Arizona, that may be the first unanimous primary in the history of presidential politics. Every single Republican in Arizona may vote for Donald Trump.
Build a wall. Build a wall.
So, I mean, he's going to win Arizona, I suspect. And, you know, where is the firewall for Trump? You know, all of the pundits inside the Beltway talking and all the party poobahs, they completely, even to this day, they're still playing out these scenarios that are implausible. He has 60% more delegates, Trump does, than Cruz right now. And I say this as a Cruz backer, excuse me, as I said at the outset, 60% more delegates, and he has northeastern states and big delegate states like New York and, frankly, California, the last state on June 7th, the 172 delegates, winner-take-all by congressional district, where he looks pretty good. Now, June's a long time away, but boy, oh boy, I think that Cruz is giving you a tell when he says, if you want to beat Donald Trump, you beat him at the ballot box. You don't beat him at a contested convention, because I think Cruz knows it's going to be very difficult for him to coalesce the necessary support to win on a second, third, fourth, 25th ballot if it goes to a convention with Trump far ahead in first place, Cruz well behind in second place, and then everybody else.
Yeah, it seems even harder, though, Dan, for it to happen at the ballot box at this point, because there just isn't enough vote left out there.
So why don't we just abide Trump's call for unity and get used to the idea of Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump?
Because 60% of the electorate in the Republican Party doesn't like him and doesn't want him. And so that's going to, people are going to continue to go that way until hope is completely extinguished. And my view on Trump is, there is a movement there, like you said. I totally agree. But it was the split vote. It was the plurality. There was the Trump, I'm angry, I want something different at such a guttural level, and then some new people coming into the party versus the rest of the party. And if it had been a Trump-Cruz race from the beginning, if these votes hadn't been split and these delegates hadn't been split, if it had been something like that, it would have been Cruz. So my point is that's why the party doesn't want to coalesce around them, because so much of the party doesn't want him.
Well, if things were different, they wouldn't be the same. I agree with you. But here's the thing: as the field has winnowed, Trump has received as much benefit from the clearing of the field as has Cruz. I mean, in terms of increasing your vote count. I mean, I'm the only guy who's beat Donald Trump multiple times. Yeah. But right now, according to the rules of the GOP convention right now, Trump is the only one who even qualifies to be on a contested ballot, because he's the only one who's won a majority of delegates in 8 states.
I agree with that, but that's only because of the nature of the guys who are getting out leading up to this. Now that it's Rubio, the Rubio vote, and the Kasich vote, which is the sort of internal standard Republican vote, now that that's the vote that can inure to Cruz, that has a chance to change, where the Carson vote wasn't like that. And so to me, I view that as different. The types of guys getting out is different, and the number of population that they have behind them is different. So I think it's too little too late. But if Rubio had gotten out a couple of weeks ago, I think that Cruz would have had a phenomenal shot, and not likely, but in my opinion, would have been the nominee.